Amanya gange nze Kasumba Godfrey.
My name is Kasumba Godfrey. I was born in Kalungu, Bonga, in the family of Mr. Kazinja, and raised among us people who did not know God but practiced mainly ungodly rituals. This is the kind of family that I grew up in. I too took part in these rituals, and I was declared the head of the spirits and was charged with the responsibility of leading and appeasing them. When I was older, I joined a gang of boys since I was not in school. This gang was composed of young men who were rascals and delinquents, causing havoc in Kampala and its suburbs. They camped in Amuongo. They smoked marijuana, cigarettes, sniffed petrol, and abused many other substances. When I became a part of them, I too picked up their habits. I started training acrobatics, growing dreadlocks, and ambushing innocent people along the way. My digressions did not fall short of drinking alcohol, going places like discos, and fighting all the time. I even had a few fights with the police. Sometimes I got possessed and slept in all sorts of weird and dirty places. When I got back home, my relatives would claim that it was the spirits who had taken charge of me and led me to where I had been. Then one night I had been in a disco hall and fought with the police. However, I was lucky to flee from them. On my way home I became totally weak. I did not have the strength to carry on. I fell along the way and slept, and that is where Dr. Seriange found me in my misery.
I'm Dr. Lazarus Seriange, and I work with the Life Ministry Uganda. My wife and I took a morning walk, just to walk for exercise. And not far from home, we got to a junction and found that there was a man sleeping there. Lying down. Some people were watching him, wondering what had happened to him. We also looked at him, and I observed that the man was breathing and he was alive. He had dreads, the Rastafari kind of hair. And, we decided not to get involved, but just to walk on. But soon, as we had taken off a few steps, the story of the Good Samaritan came to mind. Surely was I going to be like the religious people in that story, the parable Jesus told about the Good Samaritan? Was I going to just ignore the man? And I was stung in the heart, and God showed me that I should go back and help the man. And I told my wife, you go on with the walk, let me help the man. I came to him, slapped him at the back. It was rather hard slap to wake him up from his drunken stupor. He woke up, and I said, my friend, you are dangerously in the road, and a car can run over you. Get up. I told him, I can walk you home. Where is your home? He told me. I said, let me walk you home. And we began walking home. He was beginning to understand, and we could converse together. And on our way home, I told him, I said, my friend Godfrey, you need Jesus to help you change, to give you power over drinking, power over drugs, and change your life. And you need to open your life to Jesus to come in and make you a new person. I Mukama. Nsonyiwa ebibi byange. Ndi muntu mwonoonyi. Naye nkwebaza. Olw'okufa ku musaalaba. Olw'ebibi byange. Ayi Yesu. Nkusaba. Ojje kaakati. Oyingire mu bulamu bwange. Onfuule omuntu omujja. Ayi Mukama. Nkwebaza. Olw'okuwulira okusaba kwange. N'okuyingira mu bulamu bwange. Nga bwe wasuubiza. Kakati nkyusa. Mbeera omuntu omujja. Nsabye bino mu linnya lya Yesu Kristo, Mukama waffe.
ne mubuulira nti nsobola okulokoka.
I then told him I wanted to receive salvation. When I reached home, he explained to my relatives where and how he had phoned me. He told them that I had accepted salvation and that when I got up, I ought to take a shower and stop drinking. However, when I woke, I did not listen to what they told me. I went right back to drinking. I emphasized that I did not want them to tell me anything about salvation. I was a worshiper of the spirits, and therefore they were the ones who protected me. And I went back to drinking. That day I had a lot to drink, and when I came back home, I fell sound asleep. Early the next morning, Dr. Seriange came back and asked me how I was doing. I then confessed to him that I went back to drinking alcohol, and that night I had a lot of it. He then asked me if I had accepted salvation. I told him that I had accepted. He then led me to Christ and prayed for me, and after I preached the gospel, which I took seriously. From that day on, I started following the teachings of the Bible, and he continued coming to teach me more about the Word of God and encouraging me. He then started a fellowship called Chisacha Mukama. For most of the people in the community who heard about my salvation did not believe it because of the previous disgraceful life I had led. They started attending the fellowship just to see for themselves whether what they had heard was true or it was just a fabrication. Whenever they came, they would find Dr. Seriange teaching me the Word of God and telling me about all the wonderful things about salvation. I went ahead to listen and follow the Word of God, although various trials and tribulations started coming my way. One time I was almost burnt in a blaze of fire that gutted my house, but he sent someone to pray for me, and when the spirits heard someone mention the name of God, they fled instantly. After the incident, I went for treatment and I felt much better. Since that day they prayed for me, I have never been attacked by the spirits again. I also became more firm in God. I am now very happy, trusting, and walking in the Lord. I have peace that I never had before. I am so thankful to God for my life, considering from where He got me. Those people who never liked me are now happy to see that I am a changed man. The young people that would run away whenever they saw me are now my friends, and we all fellowship together at Sajamkama, praising the Lord and hearing the gospel together. I am grateful for the many times the Lord has rescued me from the traps of my enemies. Once a person tried poisoning me, but I prayed to God to rescue me, and I started vomiting out all the poison I had taken in. And by the time I was taken to hospital, it had all come out from my system. I am grateful that the Lord has saved me from alcohol addiction, taking marijuana, and beating up innocent people, including my own family members, whenever I came back home.
Mpulira kati eddembe mu bulamu bwange kubanga ebintu bingi nnyo emizimu bye byali gyanzijjako.
I now feel I have peace and a Christian's freedom. There are many things that I was not allowed to do before, like eating mushrooms, silverfish, and other kinds of delicacies. But now I am glad that all the things I was prohibited from eating before, the Lord has enabled me to eat all of them. I am grateful to the Lord because He gave me victory over the bondage of satanic limitations in my life. At this point in time, I am growing steadily strong in the Lord. I'm praying that the Lord will give me the strength each day to overcome whatever challenges that may come my way. It has been God's grace, mercy, and His word that has transformed my life.
Yabadde ambonyezabonyezaamu buli kaseera.